trends that we're also witnessing, Mr. Arjun, is that, since these organizations, let's say most of the factories for the other players are in a very rural setup, or, in a far-flung areas, there's a lot of, effort which is being made by these organizations to mobilize local rural youth towards, their organization through the skilling route, obviously, before they get inducted into employment. That's the one part. The second is also we've seen the women, intake of women has also gone up, and specifically for the job roles which have been traditionally be managed by men, and specifically I'm talking about the factory operations. Are you also seeing such kind of trends in your organization, or any efforts for the upliftment of, or I would say, mobilization of the rural youth, and also for the any agenda on the diversity hiring?
We don't call it diversity. We focus more on DEI rather than just diversity. So
Okay.
we focus on equity and we focus on inclusion as well. And that is where uh, the DEI for us is just not limited to gender diversity. So we look at people with special abilities. We also look at people who are geographical disabilities. For example, people who are from Northeast, or people who are from Jammu and Kashmir, who are not so much into the mainstream. So we try and make it equitable for everyone. We try and make it inclusive for everyone, and we are doing a lot of efforts in terms of promoting DEI at workplace. So for example, if I can just quote some numbers, we already have more than 23% of females getting represented in our workforce, which is very, very high number that we have. Now coming back to the second part of your question, which is involving people from rural areas. Yes, the kind of skill that we require at the ground level, or the blue collar workers that we have, we try and get people from far away places. We ensure that we take care of their roti, kapda, and makan, so that the longevity is ensured. And we also take care of the entire mental well-being of these people, because if someone is coming here from a far-flung place, they need some kind of a psychological safety before they can start being productive. And that's where this strategy has actually helped us a lot, not just to gain talent, but also to ensure their longevity. So two parts to your question. Yes, we engage local MLAs or MPs, and we do Rojgar Melas in those pockets, so that we do these kind of interventions to select people and bring them on board. And then once they are here, our team is taking care of more from employee engagement perspective. And when you talk about diversity, there are flexibilities that we are ensuring. There are policies that we are crafting, which are more DEI friendly. The entire approach of sensitization of the workforce, so that the acceptability of people who are not so much well represented in the workforce is taken care of. So for example, we do unconscious bias workshops, which tells people, boss, yes, so female is not a female, she is a warrior. So those kind of approaches. We also do sensitization workshops to tell people that people who are unable to, who are kind of people who are unable to speak or listen or hear, they also have a way to saying something. And that's where the sensitization workshops, unconscious biasness workshop helps us create a culture wherein they are accepted as a worker or a workforce, rather than they are seen as a man or a woman or a PWD. So there are a lot of effort we are doing in that space, Sumit.
That's fantastic. Our take is now, when we say that it's no longer that the talent is right now is gender agnostics.
Yes,
It's
and
like,
the
I mean,
fact
there's
that
nothing called as men
and the
or
fact
male or female.
sorry, and the fact that when you're looking at your ESG mandates, everything boils down to what is called as social. And in the social, we are also looking at how can we increase the number of leaders, female leaders in the entire workforce. And that is where a lot of investments in woman mentor kind of a program. We are also ensuring that if someone is going for a maternity break, their continuity of service, their performance, their promotions, everything is so guaranteed that there is a higher motivation for them to come back and grow at a faster pace compared to maybe some of their male colleagues as well.
Great, fantastic. So we also see now, since the PLI has kind of caught up, obviously we've seen that so much of economic development is also leading because of PLI. There are many more players which are entering and getting licenses. Any piece of advice you would like to give to them when it comes to talent and skill development?
There's no advice, Sumit. They all are experts in their areas, and I don't think I'm good enough for them to advise them. My only request for them to look at the basics. This is not a rocket science. Just treat humans as humans, and half of your strategy is done. I think the most important thing is go back to the basics, plan your resources well. So when I talk about planning, it's more about manpower planning. If you have a good manpower planning in terms of what is your future manpower need, what is your current manpower need, what is the skills required that you need to run your business operation successfully now and in future. So do a robust manpower planning, and then you also marry that manpower planning with your talent strategy. So when I talk about talent strategy, try and look at from where you will buy skill and from where you build skill. And that is where these two things get integrated. Try and make efficient processes, because the need of the business is to be agile. And the moment you make a very, bureaucratic or a very, less agile or very kind of a slow process, then there is a trouble, because the business cannot afford the slowness. So speed is the essence, but at the same time, quality of the systems and processes should also be very, very high. As you rightly said in your statements, focus on diversity and inclusion and equity, because the future belongs to them. And that is where the effort should be, to get more and more people included in the mainframe. Then the rest of the things like your skilling, your talent management, and the fact that people will come to you if you have a stronger employer brand. If you don't have an employer brand, then people may come, but they may leave you. And that's where focus on employer brand, use technology, use social media as much as possible to reach out to people, because the kind of pool that you're looking at may not be very, very sensitive or easily available on LinkedIn or any other job sites. So your Instagram, your reaching out to people on Facebook or WhatsApp should be so robust that you are able to reach people at a faster pace and you are able to get the traction that you're looking at.
Great. Thank you so much, sir. I think your last word, you said how to use digital media to attract people as well. I think that was, something that was very different and unique, which you're trying to say. But I think today there's so much of demand that you got to use these innovative practice to attract. And yes, you rightly mentioned that employer brand also matters the most, because, it's your ability to attract, and not just to attract, but also to retain. I think the whole culture, the ethos of the organization matters so much when it comes to the whole talent strategy. Thank you so much, sir, for your time. I
My
know you've been very, very busy. You've been traveling because such a large operations that you handle. So thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Sumit, and thanks, Team Leads, for having me.
Thank you.